Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Knog Cobber Reflex bike light set. Knog's copper lights have been a popular option with cyclists thanks to their unique curved shape and their wraparound Cobb LED design. The Cobber Reflex adaptive bike light set we have here is one of the latest additions, and that takes the classic Cobber design and adds a bunch of tech features like the reflex and adaptive, which allow it to adjust to tilt, and has a brake sensor for the rear light. Packaging wise, you can see really simple, nice eco-friendly design, just a cardboard piece of paper, specs printed on the back, and the lights themselves are attached with the rubber straps directly to the cardboard backing. This is the combo set, but you can also purchase these separately. So as far as specs, these retail for $79.99 each, and then if you buy this combo set, you'll save a couple bucks, so it's $150. The front light is 350 lumen, and the rear one is 250. You get 330 degrees of visibility with both of them. And again, they have this nice Cobb LED grid with some very cool animations. The lights are also rated as an IP67, so definitely rated for wet weather use, as long as you make sure you cover up the USB Type-C port with the rubber cover. As far as what comes with it, not a whole lot. So you can see you have this clever hidden backing piece, the two lights with this little plastic protective sheet on top of them, two of these straps, and then you have additional straps in here as well, which is pretty cool. So you have the shorter and longer ones in here for both of the lights. No charging cable, as you really should have a USB Type-C cable already if you don't have one with another accessory. Now let's take a look at the weight of the lights. If we put the taillight with its mounting strap, comes in at about 49 grams. And if we take the headlight with its mounting strap, should be identical, so you can see it is also 49 grams. Visually, the Cobber lights retain the signature Cobber design with that wraparound LED lens, and you can see a very unique form factor. It almost looks like an ellipse, so not quite an exact circle, but a little bit stretched out, and it gives you 330 degrees of side visibility, which is really impressive. So really wide beam that should be visible from just about any angle. The headlight and taillight are pretty much visually identical. The headlight does put out more lumens. That one's 350 versus the 250, but form factor wise, they're really identical. The mounts are the same, and the really only difference here is the red lens versus the clear one. And then with the clear one, you get the yellow backing, which is just the chemical reflecting the light. Branding is limited just to Knog on the bottom, a illuminated power button on top. On the bottoms, you have the USB Type-C charging port, which is always nice to see, and a nice little rubber cover. You push down, you can see it sits nice and flush, and it has a little lip on there to make it easier to pull off. On the back side, you have a little rubber piece actually molded into it, and you can actually see it's a little bit curved, and that's to handle a aero seatpost, so a little bit more curved in the center, and then flatter on the outer portion. The whole thing feels like plastic, but a little bit of a rubberized texture just in the center. As far as mounting, you can see it just uses standard hook system, and the hooks are actually molded into the body. The hooks are actually asymmetrical, so you can see a bigger one on one side, smaller one on the other, and that's because they use their kind of cool hook attachment. So instead of just being a basic rubber strap, it's a rubber strap with this little metal piece, and that works really well. So what you do is you put one side through the wider one, and then on the smaller one, there's this little roller pin, and you just line it up and pull back. And it's a lot more secure than just putting the rubber on here directly like you see with a lot of lights. So it's a nice little addition and gives you something to hold. Otherwise with a rubber strap, it always feels like you're about to stretch it out. This one you have something to hold and pull on. A very simple design though, and again, designed for aero or flat, but you can see it's not super deep, so I'm not quite sure how well it would work on really aggressively aero seat post. You can also mount these horizontally or vertically. It doesn't really matter, but with the front light, you have to use the mode maker mode to disable the top LEDs. Otherwise, you will blind yourself with this wraparound design, so you do have to watch out for that. The really cool part about these lights, though, is obviously the LEDs. So you can see it is a dense grid of them, and it gives it a very cool effect. You can see all the individual dots. So a nice tight grid, and depending on which mode you're in, I'll animate them as well. So it's not just all on or off. It'll do different animations, different flash patterns, and it really takes advantage of some additional sensors too. So with this light, the reflex part, there's a special mode, and you can see with this one, it'll actually adjust to your tilt. And it's all relative to the initial position you turned it on. But kind of a cool effect. I'm not sure if it's more of a gimmick, but it looks cool. So as you're turning and you're taking a high-speed corner, your bike's gonna tilt naturally, and this will adjust its position, which is pretty cool, but not that great for visibility. You don't really want no light here, so you don't want to be visible. You want to be visible from all angles, but it's a cool mode, and they have other modes as well and tons of animations. The user interface on it's really simple. Single power button, a single press will turn the light on. It'll either be green, orange, or red, depending on the mode or the amount of battery. So over 50% should be green, and then 25 to 50 orange, and under 25 go red, and then flash in red once you're critical stage. It's not as cool as some of the other lights, which actually show a bar, but with this one at least you get the multi-mode or multi-level. Holding the button turns it on and off, and there's also a lockout mode, which is great for transporting it so it doesn't automatically turn on in your pocket or backpack. You have to hold the button for about 5 seconds, and now you can see it will flash red. So now it's locked out, and then again hold it for 5 seconds and the light should turn back on. There's 7 output modes for both the headlight and taillight. You have 2 console modes, a high and a low, and you can see there's different lumen outputs depending on whether it's the front or the back. And then a bunch of flash modes. You have the fun side flash, which goes from the center outward, peak flash, which is just a big on-off and gives you the maximum lumen output, and then the reflex mode, which will actually adjust the LEDs based on the angle. Zoom is just a left to right animation, which is also eye-catching. And then Eco Flash gives you the maximum runtime of 70 hours with a lower on-off setting. Here you can see a little 360 shot of the light set. You have a nice rounded lens, so you can definitely see it from just about any angle, and it's definitely eye-catching. You can mount it down on the fork, handlebar, wherever you want it as a supplement to your existing light. You can see from the front, that big body of the Cobber makes sure it's visible from just about any angle. And even though you don't have a focused LED, it's just a Cobb LED, it's nice and bright, so it is daytime visible, but you're not going to have the visibility from longer distances like you can see with the Raveman FR 1100 that you have on the handlebar, or bike lights like the Flare. But overall, it's a very easy light set to set up, and once you have it running, the animations are really eye-catching. You get long run time, so you don't really have to worry about charging it all the time. The other fun modes on here are the reflex mode, and you can see when you're actually riding, it ends up being more of a random animation. This is with the default tilt sensitivity, so it's kind of an erratic flash rather than a more calm one that you can see when you're playing with it by hand, but it's still very eye-catching. And again, definitely daytime and nighttime visible. As far as riding in the night with the Cobber set, I don't really recommend it as a cop LED, so you don't have a focused LED. So unless you're just doing commuting or riding in the city, I would go with a much brighter focus light. Otherwise, these are great just for a be seen style light. And in a pinch, you can even ride it at night. But like I said, without a focus beam, it's definitely not a great light for nighttime riding, especially at higher speeds. But overall, really fun. The brake sensor is also very sensitive, just like the tilt sensor. So I would recommend adjusting them. Here you can see the mode maker. Once you connect the light, it'll actually pop up on here. And you can see, you can select different products. We just have the rear connected. And once you connect that, there's different profile options. So default, you can see what's set up from the factory. It's a very retro design with this green and black graphics. You have this 3D animation. And then if you highlight over any of the modes, you get a little animation of what the mode actually does. So you can see the flash modes animated. And it's a pretty cool setting. It's a little bit hard to see what's happening with this green color scheme, but you can see you can actually rearrange the modes. So you can reorder them, do whatever you want. And then if you don't like what you did, you can also reset it. This is also the way to adjust the settings. So you can enable or disable the auto sleep. And then for the brake modes, you can see the reflex mode you can adjust. So you can enable, disable it, or make it lower or higher sensitivity. Even the tilt mode. So if we go to the tilt setting, you can see it actually shows a little animation of it. And you can also, again, adjust both the brightness by extending the runtime. So you can lower the output or make it brighter, as well as adjust the sensitivity to make it a little bit less sensitive. So pretty cool settings. I don't think a lot of people will do this, but it's fun to have and it's very easy to use. Now it's a little comparison of the Knog lights with other lights. As far as the taillight, you can see with this one you have the Cobb design, but they have some other models that have better long distance visibility, like the R150. You can see with this one you do get the Cobb. It's more of a traditional design with the flat surface instead of the curved surface like you have on the Cobber. But you can see you'll get long distance visibility with that focus LED. So instead of just the Cobb one, this one will actually make it really bright and focused, which will give you long distance visibility, which is something nice to have. So I think the Cobber are definitely better for more urban use. If you're doing road cycling, longer distances, or on more heavily trafficked roads or even rural roads, I would recommend something with a more focused design. But this one, plenty bright at 250, and the animations are quite cool. There's also more animated ones. iGPSPORT has emoji taillight, and you can see it has a cat display. You can program with different ones, including bikes, and it's kind of cool. What I like about this one is it does have a better battery indicator. So if I turn this off again and then turn it on, it'll actually show you that battery for a second. But a lot more elaborate here, but when you're at further distances, it kind of all blurs together. So I like the Knog one just going simple and much larger and brighter. And with this one, you get a lot of side visibility. So you can see from higher angles, you're not going to see the iGPSPORT, while the Knog here is bright from almost every angle. But again, there's other taillights on the market. And if you want longer distance visibility, I think you really need more focused design. So here we have the Magicshine CME 300, and you can see dual LEDs with this ring. Has side visibility, but not as cool as this wraparound design. And then as far as headlights, this is a really cool one for, again, urban commuting, put it on your fork. But I would recommend some other ones like their road series, so the blinder with the headlights, with the multiple LEDs, much more focused beam, while something like this is more of a glow effect, so not long distance beam. This one will really illuminate the road, while the Cobber is more to make sure you're seen. Even with 350 lumen, it's better for slower speeds as the beam pattern is more uniform and not long distance. You can do it if you're just commuting at slower speeds though. And again, they have other models with focused beams and different form factors, same strap. So they use that across their product line, but having a focused beam versus just the Cobb LEDs is the difference. What we like about the Cobber lights is they have a unique form factor with the curved body and a bright grid of LEDs, which makes it visible from just about any angle. They've also added a lot of fun animations, including the reflex feature, which is really fun to play with. As far as negatives, it is quite expensive for what they are, and the brake sensor and tilt sensor are pretty sensitive with the default settings. You can adjust them through Mode Maker to make them less sensitive though. Taking everything into account would give the lights an 8.8 out of 10. They're bright and highly visible. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at thesweetcyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.